If you're looking for some screams to stream, Netflix has quite a few good options stocked in its library right about now. In addition to some of the titles everyone already knows about, like It Follows, The Babadook, The Conjuring, and Hush, here are some thrillers horror fans with a Netflix account won't want to miss. Last Shift. Directed and co-written by Anthony DeBlase, this indie fright flick follows a rookie cop who's chosen to man an abandoned police station the night before it closes for good. The place is a cold, winding labyrinth filled with the eerie hum of fluorescent light bulbs. And from the moment our hero steps through the door, weird things start happening in the hallways. There's a mysterious phone call from a frightened girl, something is banging around in the back, and the furniture seems just a little too frisky. Things keep getting weirder, especially when the rookie learns the history of a Manson-style family and their weird connection to this empty building. Soon, she's running from bloody specters and horrific visions. The horror never stops until the final bloody showdown, so by the end of Last Shift, you'll be left mumbling incoherently right alongside her. The Nightmare. This 2015 documentary is about real-life terrors, which makes it far scarier than any fictional horror story. The Nightmare examines the awful and upsetting mystery of sleep paralysis, a condition that leaves its victims trapped in a conscious dream as they see all sorts of horrible creatures around them. The film features 8 people who suffer from the disorder, and they describe in detail how they can hear the sounds of the underworld each night and how they're haunted by demonic shadow men. If that weren't scary enough, their devilish visions are also recreated on camera, giving us a glimpse into the nightmare world these people experience. Let's just say you'll probably want to stock up on caffeine to stave off your own slumber after this movie's over. I Am the Pretty Thing That Lives in the House. A love letter to gothic fiction, I Am the Pretty Thing That Lives in the House is an atmospheric horror movie that slowly crawls past the camera like a Victorian dream. A narrator tells us in the opening minutes that she'll be dead within the year. Her name is Lily, and she's a hospice nurse, caring for an elderly novelist in an old house, one full of empty spaces and strange noises, which gets even creepier when Lily glimpses an eerily beautiful ghost. While you don't see any carnage, darkness still permeates the film. From its ominous doorways and suspicious mold to a disturbing little mystery novel about a truly terrible incident. Thanks to Ruth Wilson's sad and lonely performance and a creeping sense of certain doom, this is one spooky gem that'll leave you unnerved and more than a little worried about what might be standing right behind you. Under the Shadow. There are plenty of evil spirits haunting Under the Shadow, but this Iranian film knows there are scarier things than demons, like the horrors of war or losing your kid. Set in Tehran during the Iran-Iraq War, the film sheds light on citizens who sought shelter underground. That's the world our heroine finds herself in, as she tries to protect her kid from bombs and kidnapping jinn. These spirits are drawn to fear and anxiety, looking for something to possess. But as a rational woman who doesn't believe in myths or fairy tales, she has a hard time believing these creatures even exist until she starts seeing floating cloaks and creepy old men. What results is some genuinely creepy moments that'll stick with you. The Transfiguration. Screen vampires tend to be either hideous or completely seductive, but Milo from The Transfiguration stands apart from the fanged crowd. This young orphan from New York streets lives an isolated life, running from bullies, visiting a counselor to discuss violent thoughts, and watching disturbing animal videos online. But Milo is far more than your typical messed up kid. As he might put it himself, he's a realistic vampire. This boy is obsessed with everything undead and spends his time stabbing victims and drinking their blood. Despite his thirst for the red stuff, he's not a supernatural being. He's just a mentally disturbed monster. Without a doubt, The Transfiguration is one of the most disturbing vampire movies ever made, and features a scene so horrific you might have to stop watching. But despite the brutality, this flick is an original take on a tired genre. So if you can stomach some serious gore, it might just transfigure your opinion on vampires forever. The Ritual. Forests are freaky places, and yet few films utilize the environmental fright factor as well as The Ritual. The film follows 4 British city slickers hiking their way through Sweden when they make the mistake of taking a shortcut. Their detour leads them to an incredibly dense forest, where elk are impaled on trees and something big is moving in the woods. They encounter a creepy cabin and are plagued with nightmares that are a little too vivid. Meanwhile, the thing moving in the woods keeps getting closer, just as our central hero's guilt over the violent loss of a friend starts to take over. As the group encounters occult symbols and pagan rituals, it becomes apparent that this was the wrong place for a vacation. And we're just as terrified as the characters when they stumble upon horror after horror. When they finally come face to face with the thing that haunts them, it's one of the coolest looking monster concepts in recent horror history. A Dark Song. Far more than just your typical haunted house movie, A Dark Song is a deep dive into the occult, a world of angels, demons, and complex rituals that have to be performed in just the right way, or else. If magic were real, it would look like this: methodical, miserable, and absolutely mad. The plot follows a grieving, determined woman named Sophia who's prepared to spend months locked inside a house with an angry, overbearing magician. In order to move on from her grief, she needs to meet her guardian angel and ask it to grant her just one wish. But reaching out to the spirit world is a lengthy process, and if she steps outside the house even once during the 6-month-long ritual, she'll jeopardize her soul. The magic rituals are absolutely grueling, and as tempers flare and time loses all meaning, the two characters begin falling apart, until something from the other side peeks through. Needless to say, if you delve into black magic, things are going to get dark. But if you're in the mood for a suspenseful slow burn and a horror movie where the occult feels authentic and agonizing, then you should do your best to summon A Dark Song on Netflix. Thanks for watching. Click the looper icon to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Plus, check out all this cool stuff we know you'll love too.